Hey everyone, Miko here with Behavior Analyst Supervisor. Thank you for joining us for our free Wednesday Zoom calls. Here you're watching on YouTube, but you can also join us on Wednesday. If you're interested in the link to these calls to join live, feel free to send us an email at info@behavioranalystsupervisor.com. You can also just check out our Instagram. We post questions every single day on Instagram. We also post the link to our free Zoom calls. Every Wednesday, we go through a different task list item area, such as A1. We'll talk a little bit about that task list item, and then we'll go through 3 mock exam questions relating to that task list area. We hope that this provides an opportunity for you to learn a little bit more about the task list and also dive deep into question dissection. We here at Behavior Analyst Supervisor really focus on providing explanations on why an answer is correct and why it's also incorrect. So we appreciate that you joined us. If you have any questions throughout the duration of this video, feel free to shoot us an email, hit that like and subscribe button for more information. Also, you can always leave a comment and we'll be sure to reach back out to you. Thanks again, and I'm Miko with Behavior Analyst Supervisor. You'll also be hearing from Amy and Kevin. Talk to you soon. Hey everyone, Miko here with Behavior Analyst Supervisor. Welcome for joining us for another free Wednesday Zoom. We do these calls every single Wednesday. We hope that they help you all just learn a little bit about the task list. We know that study materials can be pricey, so we want to provide some free resources for you all. So again, we do these every single week, so feel free to join us. Usually they're at 5:30, but I have another meeting I have to run to after this, so we had to move it up to 5:15. So thanks for checking out our Insta post and coming early. Couple of quick announcements before we get rolling. We do have a Breakdown the Beast coming this weekend, which is our question dissection course. If you're interested in coming to that, feel free to send us an email and we would be happy, or send us an email or just DM us on Insta and we can give you more information on that. And if you are a part of our All You Need, that is obviously included in your course. So you don't have to worry about anything. Just click the link in your account and you're good to go. And then something we're really excited about, we have a task list intensive. It's the task list in 2 days coming up the weekend of March 25th and 26th. It's going to be like going through a scenario question and then teaching the task list as to why the answer to that scenario question is what it is. So basically, right, mock question followed by where in the task list does that mock question come from and why is the correct answer correct. We have a little preview of it on our YouTube. So if you're interested in learning more, check out our YouTube channel. We post all of these on there. We have a free question dissection on there, and we have that free preview. If you're interested in coming to that, send us a DM on Insta or an email, and I'm happy to hook y'all up with a 10% discount just for coming to this free Wednesday Zoom. So again, if you're interested, just send us an email or a DM and we'll hook you up with a discount. Other than that, let's go ahead and get started. Today, we're talking about multiple baseline designs. So we'll be talking about the ins and outs of multiple baseline designs. Let's go ahead and get started. The things you need to know about a multiple baseline design. Feel free to take screenshots of whatever y'all need to. We'll be posting this video on YouTube tomorrow, so no need to worry about that. But the important thing, and this should generalize to all of the different experimental designs. So today we're talking about multiple baselines, but you need to know the AKAs for all of the types of designs. You need to know how a functional relation is demonstrated in every type of design. You need to know the pros and cons, and obviously you need to know what it looks like, and we'll be answering all of those questions. First off, when we utilize a multiple baseline design, we are using one intervention, and that is extremely important. We don't switch interventions. We don't use multiple interventions in a multiple baseline design. We just use one intervention across 3 subjects, settings, or behaviors. So subjects, you'll also see it as individuals, but subjects, settings, individuals is the same as subjects or behaviors. So those behaviors that you're targeting need to be functionally equivalent because the intervention that you're implementing has to work on all 3 of the behaviors. So that's an important piece just to remember. The AKAs or the variations. So I don't know that I would call these AKAs as much as these are variations of multiple baseline designs. So we have a multi-probe design. What that is it's signified by disconnected data sets in either baseline or in intervention. So it's like you take data here, you wait a couple of days, you take data again, you wait a couple of days, take data again. One important thing is when we do those disconnected data points, you're still collecting 3 baseline data points, because we know when we use any type of design, we need at least 3 to 5 data points in baseline. So you still have to probe at least 3. When the intervention is implemented, the data points will be connected by a line. That's our data path. And then when mastery is reached, you might see those data points become disconnected again. So probe design is disconnected either in baseline or in mastery. When we implement the intervention, we implement it consistently every single session. Super important. Next, we have a delayed multiple baseline. All this is where we start data at different times. So for participant 1, we might start on day 1. For participant 2, we might start data collection on day 3. And for participant 3, we might start data collection on day 5. So at some point, we're collecting data at the same time. It's just we start at different points, right? I'll talk about why we'll use each of these when we get to the pictures of them, but I'm just giving you the general gist of them now. Lastly, we have a non-concurrent multiple baseline design. Non-concurrent means data is never collected at the same time for the 3 participants, settings, or behaviors. So this might be you check your first grade class, and then next year you check your second grade class, and then the following year you check your third grade class. All different classes, you can't take data at the same time, so we would use a non-concurrent. Some pros or some benefits of a multiple baseline design. First and foremost, multiple baseline designs do not require a reversal or a withdrawal. The reason that's good is that means we can use it with potentially dangerous behaviors. Now, alternating treatments is always going to be better for potentially dangerous behaviors just because it doesn't require a return to baseline. But know that if you have a moderately dangerous behavior, then this would be an okay design to try. Because of that, we're not removing an effective treatment. So that's a good thing. That's also a negative. So this goes with this, right? So just because we don't require withdrawal doesn't mean it's a great thing. We know that withdrawal reversal designs give us the strongest functional relation. So multiple baselines may lack a functional relation. They don't always, but it could. And that's due to the fact that we don't have a reversal. So at the end of the day, the functional relation is less strong or is not as strong as in a reversal design. It's not always important though, right? It's just, these are just things you need to consider. Next, we can monitor generalization with it. So in our science, in our field, generalization and maintenance are 2 of the cornerstones to what we do. We want behaviors to generalize, we want them to maintain. This is a really awesome design for that. And then lastly, and this is something I didn't know until I was reading the Cooper book about these designs, but multiple baseline are the most widely used experimental designs. Would you know? I would have guessed it would have been a reversal or something like that, but it is the multiple baseline design. Some negatives, cons, or considerations. Cons stands for considerations. That's what we want to talk about. We already talked about the possibility of a lack of a functional relation. Time is huge. Resources goes with time. These are resource intensive. You're taking data for a long period of time. As y'all will see in multiple baseline designs, there's lots of data. It's spread out across a lot of sessions, and you're taking it for 3 different things: people, settings, behaviors. So that is a lot of resources that you're utilizing in order to take this data. That's a negative. Now, right, to counteract that, I can use a probe design, taking less resources, or I can use a delayed, again, less resources. So there's variations that can counteract these negatives. And then the next thing that I want to talk about, and these 3 things are AKAs. So spillover, vicarious reinforcement, and ripple effect are AKAs. These occur sometimes when we use a multiple baseline design. And what it is it's when like participant 2 and 3, when their behavior starts to increase before the intervention is implemented for them, but after the intervention is implemented for person 1. Think about it this way. This is my favorite example to use, but say you have a classroom of preschoolers, and for your first preschooler, you decide that you're going to give them a sucker every time they answer a question, right? So then participants 2 and 3, preschooler 2 and 3, are going to see preschooler 1 answering questions and getting a sucker. And so they're going to be like, oh, I can answer questions and then get a sucker, but we haven't implemented the intervention for them yet. So we're not really giving them a sucker, but their question answering behavior should increase because they see participant 1. That's not a good thing. We don't know if it's the intervention that is causing that. And so this is not what we want to happen. That's why it's a consideration. So that's the ins and outs. Let's look at what each of these variations would look like. This is a typical multiple baseline design. Sorry, it's kind of small. I couldn't stretch it out. But as you see, you have baseline collected. They all start on day 1. You have this stair pattern. This stair is going to signify when the intervention starts. This is across participants. And there is a functional relation here because all of the participants stay in baseline until the intervention is implemented. That's how we determine a functional relation, is when participants 2 and 3 remain in baseline until we implement the intervention for them. So that's regular. This is a multi-probe design. As you can see, disconnected data sets in baseline, connected data sets in intervention. Probe designs can be signified with these disconnected. Sometimes they have triangles that are disconnected, squares. It doesn't really matter. The important thing is that there's no connection between them. And what I do want to point out, I said this previously, but I want to make sure you catch it, is that there's still 3. There's still 3. Here there's 4, so even better maybe, but you have to have that minimum 3, right? It's 3 to 5 data points in baseline. So we have that. We've met the criteria. This is the delayed multiple baseline. Participant 1 started on day 1. Participant 2 started on day 3. Participant 3 started on day 7. Forgot how to count there for a minute. So as y'all can see, we just started at different times. So that is what it would look like in a delayed. And then lastly, non-concurrent. This is the hardest to tell from a typical multiple baseline. As you can see, it looks exactly the same. There's no true indicating factors. However, whenever you are looking at a graph, any type of graph, first things you're going to look at are the axis labels. So baseline intervention, effects of shaping on man's frequency. And then you need to look at these ones too. As you'll see here, session 1 to 20, session 21 to 40, session 41 to 60. So I'm never taking data at the same time during there. Does that make sense? I hope so. Put it in the chat if it doesn't. But for participant 1, I take data from day 1 to 20. I stop. For participant 2, I take data from 21 to 40. I stop. For participant 3, I take data from 41 to 60. I stop. That's non-concurrent, not at the same time. Hope that makes sense. Now we're going to jump into some questions, scenario type questions, mock exam questions. If you have questions yourself, feel free to throw them in the chat and I'll answer them as we go. I'm also going to ask that you put your answer to the questions in the chat. Or if you're watching this after the fact on YouTube, go ahead and throw your answer in the comments. But you can comment them or chat them directly to me so there's no reactivity for other folks. Here's our first question. When reviewing the data in the graph, what conclusion can be made? The intervention is working as planned, that vicarious reinforcement was delivered, that there needs to be additional data taken, or nothing, the graph is incomplete. So this is the graph you're looking at, and you want to choose one of those answer choices. If you're on your phone, I'm so sorry. It's going to be hard to see that, but. And then again, just throw your answers in the chat, chat me directly. When we get about half the folks answering, I will tell y'all what everyone's thinking. Cool. Thank you, those of you who put your answer in the chat. I do appreciate it. We are split. We have a little bit of everything, a couple of A's, a D, and a B. So a little bit of everything. Let's go through each choice. I'm going to flip to the next slide, which has the answer, and then I'll explain from there. Again, for those of you that answered, I do appreciate it, so thank you. Whoops, too far. So B is the correct answer. Vicarious reinforcement was delivered. This sounds like incorrect grammar, but it's correct because vicarious reinforcement is a thing. It's when, you know, this person is being reinforced, so this person sees it, and their data starts increasing. So that's vicarious reinforcement occurring. And again, after the intervention is implemented for participant 1, participants 2 and 3's data starts to increase. It doesn't increase before, it increases after the intervention starts for participant 1. So again, we're seeing it and we're thinking, oh, if I engage in the behavior, then I can contact reinforcement 2. The intervention is kind of working as planned. So as we can see, the intervention does increase it. And even after we implemented the intervention here, the behavior does increase even more. But this is a bad thing. We can't determine if it's truly the intervention causing this change or if the vicarious reinforcement started the change and then continued it increasing. So not what we want to see. We don't need additional data. Honestly, this is like a confounding variable that's occurring. This is no good. So it's not what we want to see happen. And then lastly, the graph's not incomplete. It is, it has been completed, and that's fine. It just is the fact that there was some vicarious reinforcement spillover or ripple effect that's occurring here. So, all right, next answer or next question, I guess. What type of graph do we have here? What type of graph is this? Is it multiple baseline across subjects, multiple baseline across interventions, multiple baseline across settings, or a multi-element design? All right, so again, put your answers in the chat. I only have a couple of people that have answered, so I'm just going to give you all a few more seconds to throw an answer in the chat. We are split, though, as of right now. We're split between A and D. So this is a bit of a trick question, I will say. So it certainly looks like a multiple baseline design, and specifically multiple baseline across subjects because it says Judy, Michael, Leanne, Rex. However, remember, and this was one of those important things that I told y'all, we do not use multiple interventions in a multiple baseline design. So as you can see here, there's many interventions being thrown in here. We don't do that. And the reason is we can only use one intervention. So multiple baseline designs only accommodate one intervention. This is actually a stacked up multi-element design. The other thing you don't see is you don't see a stair stepper. Remember, multiple baseline, we have stair steppers. We're implementing the intervention at different times to see if it's effective. You don't see that here. So we know this can't be a multiple baseline. Again, a little bit of a tricky question. This picture is right out of the Cooper book, though. So you will see graphs like this. This is really just a multi-element design with a baseline, which again, we'll talk about multi-element designs at a later date, but you can have a baseline in a multi-element. You don't need one, but you can have one. And all of these different things are different data or different interventions being implemented. So hope that makes sense. Last question. Juniper would like to track how Hooked on Phonics impacted each of her children's kindergarten reading levels. She has a 1-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 5-year-old. Juniper should utilize what type of design? Multiple baseline, multi-probe, delayed multiple baseline, or non-concurrent multiple baseline? Please put an answer in the chat. Sweet. So lots of D's and some A's in the chat. So we're split between D and A. Let's look at what the answer is, and then I'll explain. Non-concurrent is the correct answer here. The reason it's non-concurrent is because if she's checking them each in kindergarten, they're different ages. These children are not going to be in kindergarten at the same time. Maybe 4 and 5 are, but they're different ages. So that's what's telling us that it's not in, or they're not in the same grade because they're different ages. And certainly the 1-year-old can't be there at the same time. So we can definitely track this. We would just use a non-concurrent. So when the 5-year-old's in kindergarten, we take their data. Then when the 4-year-old gets there, we take their data. And then when the 1-year-old gets there, we take their data. But again, these are at different times. So we take the data at different times. So that is that. Hope it makes sense. For those of you who just joined, thanks for joining us. We started early today. I posted on Instagram. So just make sure you check each week. We will be posting the rest of this to YouTube. So whatever you missed, you'll be able to see on YouTube. I'll post it tomorrow so y'all can see it. But typically it will be at 5:30. Today we just had to start early because I have a meeting in 5 minutes that I have to run to. So I just want to show y'all our website, and then you can check it out, and then I'll answer any questions that y'all have. But again, if you go to BCBA Exam Prep, you will see all of our fun things that we have. You'll see the calendar for all of the events. You'll see our weekend task listing. Again, if you're not a part of the All You Need, then DM me and you can get a discount on this. If you are part of the All You Need, it comes with your package. You can see those. We also do have individual items. So if you just click that, you'll see all the individual items. Have all of your names in a wheel of names. Let me spin it and then I'll answer. I think we'll have time for like 1 or 2 questions. So spinning, as you can hear, I think maybe. Our winner today is... Nice. I put it in as Jazz. But I think it's let me make sure you're still here. Oh, I don't think they're still here. Hold on. Nope, gotta spin again. They're not here anymore. Okay, let me spin again. Miss Nada, are you still here? You are?
Yes, I am.
Sweet. Can you email me?
I do have an account with you guys, but yeah, sure.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I'll make sure I get that put into your account. I love the chats. My name starts with J. I love it. Okay, so we have time for like 1 or 2 questions. Who has one? Why do we use single subject designs? This is a good question. So we use single subject designs or single subject experimental designs. It's just a part of the scientific method. It's how we determine if an intervention is effective. Based on what we're attempting to find out, what type of behavior or what type of intervention we want to assess, that will tell us what type of multiple baseline design to implement. So that's why we use them. They are just scientific in that they really allow us to determine what impact an intervention is having on an individual. And then vicarious reinforcement. Yeah, what vicarious reinforcement is it's when participants 2 and 3 see participant 1 contacting whatever the intervention is, and then they change their behavior based on just seeing. That's why that word vicarious reinforcement. They change their behavior just based on seeing that other participant either contacting reinforcement or engaging in a different behavior. So that's what that is. And then what we look for in a non-concurrent is just that you'll look at the x-axis, and the x-axis will say year 1, year 2, year 3, or session 1 to 20, session 21 to 40, or whatever. So you're looking for different days on the x-axis of a multiple baseline. So that's what that would look like. Cool. All right, y'all. Well, I appreciate y'all. I will be posting this again to YouTube. Sorry for those of you who joined right at 5:30. We do usually have this at 5:30, but I have a meeting in 2 minutes. So that's why we started early. But I appreciate y'all coming. Again, if you're interested in any of our things, just email me and I'll hook y'all up with a discount. You can actually try the code PASS on our website for 10% off. So if you just want to check that out, feel free. But I appreciate y'all, and I will see you next week. Bye.